Hello and welcome to Hardcast. Join us for Chris's favorite volume of Imperium.
Ha ha ha.
I'm Humphrey Erm.
And my name is Chris.
Lifeline. Give me Imperium Volume 4 Stormbreak.
Imperium Volume Ugh. Issue 13. After we get a quick flashback to how Livewire met Harada, we find her breaking into a Harada stronghold to steal some data. She succeeds, but is met by the Indian army when she comes outside. But while she's being moved per helicopter, Hardcore swoops in and breaks her out. They need her help because Gravedog is accessing their satellites, and they want Livewire to fix it. They go into space and get to the satellite in question and find a gold foil box which contains a Psyot bomb, a weird brain that's connected to eyes that's specifically built so that Livewire can't do anything about it. Back with Harada, the eyeless woman is continuing to do weird stuff like creating a creature from fetal cells. The Prime Minister of India is making an announcement as Harada is told that the bomb has been set off, so he leaves to take care of it by literally flying into space.
All right. So, I know we can get this at the end, but yes, that's a quick thing. This last volume didn't change anything in terms of your opinion.
Of course not.
Yeah, I just thought I'd get that out of the way.
It's just more of the same stuff that I don't like about it. It's way too much back and forth and going on about how important all of this stuff is. That's just so boring. There's just so much reading. I was just so happy when it finally got to the action parts, and it just like I could finally just see a page that was just all art, no words, and I was like, okay, good. Finally, I have a page I can just kind of get through quickly. And I'm not saying that I don't want to read words when I'm reading these comics, but it's so dense, this kind of like in this comic, because it's just they have to tell so many stories and so much information has to be brought across that it's just so boring, and it's so laborious to just go through it and just read everything. It's just it's so horrible.
Oh no, I can agree with that. It's that kind of thing like, why not write a book if you're gonna just
Right.
fill the page with just dialogue and captions?
Exactly.
So again, it's a different. Well, it's a matter of taste and style.
Yeah, I'm not going to say that this story would have worked better as a book. I don't think so. But yeah, again, it is a style that someone would like to have. Like if someone likes to just go through all this fictional. I think that's one of the reasons why I was never really into like these epic fantasy stories like Lord of the Rings and Game of Thrones and stuff like that, is because it's so hard because you have to kind of really get into it. You have to spend so much time to just be so invested in all these characters and all the, all that kind of stuff that it's just, I don't know. I just want to kind of like be a part of it where, like, for example, I've been rereading the Harry Potter series lately, and it's amazing how there's like no character description.
Oh, really?
Like it's so lackluster. Like like when I was like writing stuff, like either screenplays or prose or whatever, I would always be like, oh man, I have to describe these characters in minute detail. And it has to sound really nice, and it has to be like clever and witty. But like in these books, there's like nothing. There's a quick description of Harry at the beginning of each book, and it's just something like a bespectacled boy with shaggy hair, and that's it. And yeah, some characters get described very quickly, just like here's the 2 or 3 defining features. But yeah, I don't know.
No, I get what you mean. It's been ages since I read any of the books. But yeah, back to the actual Imperium book. So I gotta say, I do like the intro to this, as well as the whole throughout the volume, the whole idea of Harada and Livewire's past. I don't know, there's just something really sweet, I feel, despite Harada's intentions and the like.
Hmm.
there is something sweet about meeting up with a little orphan girl and offering her a better life.
Yeah, but only because he can gain something from it.
Oh, absolutely.
Like there's no point that I feel like, oh, he has ever taken pity on her. It's just I'm going to use her later in life, and that's why I'm being nice.
Oh no, certainly.
It's not like Thanos, right?
Oh yeah, let's go. We both watched Infinity War. What, within like 2-3 days of each other?
Yeah, something like that. I think you watched it on opening day Thursday. I watched it on Sunday.
Yeah, apparently it premiered the Wednesday here, so we didn't get that.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, I just watched it first day.
$650 million. Try to beat that, Valiant.
The awful thing though is that when I heard that, because I just hear so many numbers regarding movies and stuff all the time, that I wasn't quite like, is that a lot?
Well, again, there was this one thing that I noticed I remembered when I was talking about this today. There is a movie out there that earned £88 in its opening weekend.
Wow.
Like literally 88. Not 88,000, not 88 million, 88.
Wow.
It was an Uma Thurman movie.
I was gonna say like, okay, I'm guessing it's not just some indie film or something. Damn.
Yeah, it was called Motherhood.
Okay, never heard of it. Which I guess
Yeah,
explains it.
yeah, obviously. No,
It should have been part of a cinematic universe.
it had some sort of weird thing where they were just like, oh, we're going to open it only in one movie theater to kind of make it kind of like an exclusive kind of thing, and then word of mouth will make it great. And they opened it like in London in some movie theater, and one guy went.
And he paid 88?
No, that's what I mean. Like on the opening day, the movie earned £9.
Oh, did you say opening weekend or?
Yeah.
Oh,
So
okay.
opening weekend was £88, and opening day was £9 or something like that.
Now that's exclusive.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, too bad. I mean, regardless, I don't know the films. I can say it's like, haha, take that. But yes, it's always a pity when things don't work out. I feel.
Yeah, but that was like kind of a stupid decision. Like, we're gonna open it in one movie theater, and word of mouth will do the rest.
They were taking cues from Cartman's economic lessons.
Mm.
No, you're not allowed to see this. Anyways, I can see you're trying to take us away from.
Because this comic sucks, Humphrey. Why do you keep doing this to me? I don't want to read Imperium.
Well, again,
And the good thing is I don't have to anymore because it's the last one, right?
Yep.
Thank God.
But I don't.
But how much do you want to bet? Next one's going to be some sort of Harbinger thing again, and it's going to be Peter Stanchek and Stanchek.
Yeah.
And Harada battling it out again, talking about all their psiotic powers and the dichotomy of good and evil and all that kind of great gripping storytelling.
Well, we'll see. I've read the first volume of Harbinger Renegades.
Oh, is that the one?
So yeah, I think so.
Let me just check the list.
There's two. Though one of them ended. Then there's also Generation Zero coming later, which is focused on those kids that escaped from Harada. Or no, from Pride Rising Spirit.
I don't even remember.
Yeah, no, it was a while ago. Last time we saw them was in Mexico City, during the Armor Hunters thing.
Oh, yeah.
You remember when Faith and Torque join up there to try to help people? And you had like that crew of kids, like the guy, I forget the name, but like a guy who could heal people. And
Oh, it'll be episode 94.
oh, really? Damn, that's a while.
Oh, good. Then we have a lot of good ones coming. The entire Rai 4001 AD Beyond New Japan, a Wrath of the Entire Eternal Warrior Volume 2. Ooh.
Oh yeah,
Feels good, man. Feels good. And suddenly my spirits are lifted.
Yeah, so come on, Chris, pull through this episode.
All right.
I don't know, like for me, this is kind of stuff that I do like though. Even though it's kind of always gets tricky whenever a writer tries to, what's the word? Well, they're basically portraying sort of a real life response to a fake scenario in terms of like what India's role in this would be.
Yeah.
And again, nothing wrong with that. I mean, if you're doing fiction, like of course, doing what you can think of, like where that fits.
Yeah, it is just a weird thing though to have a real life character, like to put the words into a real life person's mouth.
Mm.
You know what I mean? Like, I mean, obviously, if Valiant would be more publicly known or famous or whatever, I'm pretty sure there would have been a statement from the Indian Prime Minister.
Yes, it's like years after this, and finally the prime minister hears about it.
Yeah, it's like
So
I would
even,
never say that.
but is this
I didn't do the accent, and it was a lot of restraint, but I did not do the accent.
so? But actually, this is from 2015. Haven't they had any elections since then, or am I mixing things up?
I do not know.
Ours is I don't know. It's and they don't have as they don't have as good what's the word? I don't want to say they don't have as good media considering they're a huge what's called home. Oh man, my words are not really working today. Yeah, I was gonna say like homebrew media in terms of like, but what I mean is like domestic, like cinema and all that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the Avengers don't ever go to India to grab that money
That's
from
true.
their
Well,
viewing
maybe
audiences.
India has some weirder things to add to the films. Get out and dance, which
Yeah,
I would
right.
pay for. I would love that. Having what's called instead of the oh yeah, well, I mean that scene's in the trailer, so that's not really a spoiler. So, but during the Wakanda battle, having a
Mm.
little dance off instead. No, but my point was basically yes, as you said, the whole thing when you have a real person currently in office or at least soon enough or at least close enough, and then having these responses, it's always very odd. Again, don't want to say that you should never do that or that it's definitely not immoral, but it's
Yeah,
just
but didn't we have that just recently? Like, didn't DC or Marvel put Putin into their comics?
I think you didn't get to see. I don't know about those two, but I know he'll appear in one of our Valiant issues.
Yeah, but I mean, there was a whole thing recently I saw in like the news that they were talking about like, oh, Putin in DC Comics or something like that.
Oh, really? That could happen. I remember there was a little bit of talk when it happened in Valiant, but the keyword was little.
Yeah, Vladimir Putin, Earth 616.
Okay.
There's an image of him. Oh
Or,
no, it's not. Wow.
hmm?
It is actually Valiant because that's Divinity, right?
Yes, Divinity 2.
Yeah. Okay, that's weird. It's weird that I literally searched for Putin DC Comics and the first video is or the first image is from Valiant.
Well, it's kind of nice. It's nice to know that there's something Valiant comes first with.
Well, then maybe he wasn't because I kind of googled it and then I was like, because you only see his face because it's basically like, oh yeah, the face, and then I kind of looked up and it's like, oh, that's Divinity, a female Divinity, but it's Divinity. I
Gosh
guess
darn
we'll
all
get to
the
that.
gender and race swapping. No, you'll read it when it comes. It's a really good one. I like it.
Okay.
But yeah, it is kind of an odd thing with that stuff. I mean, again, it's not for me. Like I remember seeing a really nice page from must have been I always mix them up if it's Suicide Squad or Secret Six or whatever it's called. They seem to interchange their names sometimes, but it
The
was
Salamander 7.
there was a scene between Amanda Waller and Barack Obama.
Mm.
It was kind of interesting because basically Obama was pissed that she was keeping like her team secret from him, and then she basically like BTFO'd him in terms of like saying, look, it's for everyone's sake. It gives you plausible deniability that when should we ever get caught.
Now, Miss Waller, you need to disclose all this information that you can give to me.
No. No, but that's the thing. It's but I feel at
My
least on
hands
that
smell
one
like
page.
wet dog. Sorry, it's raining here, and the dog is like right underneath me, sitting under my desk, and I can just woof the smell is just wafting up into my nose.
Can you smell that, listeners? Take a deep sort of whiff here.
Yeah, actually, on my side of the microphone is very crowded today. My girlfriend is sitting on the couch behind me doing her macrame.
Hi, Michael.
What? Do you want to thank him for voting for your...
Oh, he did?
Yeah. Here she comes.
Hi, Michael. Thanks for voting for my thing.
Internal enemy.
Immortal.
Should not have fucked it up.
Immortal enemy.
All right. Anyway, back to the comic.
Yes. Well, also to take a break from the comic. Yes, in terms of another example I remember very well regarding using what's called a current precedent for a work of fiction.
Yeah.
Do you ever see the movie Contact with Jodie Foster?
Nope.
I actually really like that movie.
Okay.
But it's kind of funny. They actually have real footage of Bill Clinton now.
Well, they do that, right? I mean, that's done. Like any kind of public address and stuff like that is always
Yeah, but
in
the funny thing is, they basically are. What would the word be?
Did they Forrest Gump her in?
No, it's more that they took out of context the Bill Clinton footage of him responding to some other like event, but then having it be said about is actually about the Contact event.
Oh, okay.
Again, it's not like it's not like a big deal. It's not like they're editing him to sound stupid or something. It's just kind of like
they could.
Oh yeah. It's just kind of funny seeing like that there was enough footage of him saying things that kind of fit.
Right. I mean, have you seen that that new technology that's been kind of coming out where they can
face thing?
Yeah, well, not only the face thing, but they can also do the same thing with the voice.
Ooh.
So if a person, like especially like a president or someone in the public eye who has there's a lot of recordings of that person talking in different ways, they can actually get it all together, and it doesn't have to. You don't have to necessarily be a voice actor or Jordan Peele doing Obama's voice. It's eerie how good it is. And I mean, I'm just thinking like, oh, it's going to be great for movies where you want to have like the president to, react to a certain situation, like all these catastrophes, like in the Avengers universe or something like that. But then you're also like, oh my God, you could get the president to say anything. I mean, with our current president, that's not really hard to do. Topical. But like with someone like Obama or something like that, you'd be like, he could say whatever he wants. It's crazy.
Yeah, that's usually how it goes with these things.
Anyway, let's get back to the comic. We're the third way through the episode and we're only a quarter of the way through the comic.
Right. But yeah, no, I mean, it's just kind of a simple scenario in that sense. I mean, the whole start of this book is very, what would you call it? I wouldn't say like Mission Impossible, but it's just this kind of like secret agent kind of setup. So, hey, secret agent, we got a mission for you.
I mean, is it much of a secret agent if you go in guns blazing?
Yeah, no, but you know what I mean. That kind of whole thing.
It's an extraction. A Stormbreak.
So, but I don't know, it's kind of cool. Little space stuff. It's always kind of interesting, too, seeing a little bit more quote-unquote realistic space travel, when we do have our aliens and spaceships and stuff.
Right.
And I gotta say, I love that bomb. I mean, it fits in with Angela perfectly.
Oh yeah, that's her name, right?
Yes, the fact that she, is just this other dimension scientist who doesn't see humans as like,
Well, she doesn't have our ethics.
That's the word. Yeah, that's the way to phrase it. Yeah.
Like, I'm just going to strap a brain to some eyeballs and it's just going to explode when it sees something. It's just great.
Well, yeah, he has the psyop energy, which is just so. I don't know. I like the idea of the more, because usually with psychic powers, I feel it's a very spiritual thing. And not necessarily, that doesn't mean that it has to be like a religious thing, but it's a lot very, like the Force and stuff like that.
Yeah.
No, you must feel it. Feel the thing you're moving. But I kind of like the idea how here she can just grab a brain and like
strap some eyes to it. Yeah.
Exactly, just trigger it in that sense, which I think is kind of, I don't know, I guess kind of makes it feel a little bit more, I don't want to say mundane, but a bit more kind of like, in the end, we're just meat, which fits her very well, I feel.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I know it sounds very cynical saying it like that, but you know what I mean. In the end, like, the psychic power comes from, like, a physical part. And you get some nice little, what would you call it, dry wit from Sunlight on Snow. So so you seem well repaired, machine. I wanted to upgrade your rudimentary systems while you were offline, but Harada would not allow it. Thank the creator for small favors. I don't know, I just like that stuff.
Yeah, I didn't get it.
Well, no, but he's just being kind of dry with like, oh well, thank you for a higher power that you did not do anything to me.
Oh, I thought he meant like whoever created him because he's a machine.
I guess that could work too.
Yeah, well.
I also like the little talking thing she's carrying. Skrunk! That, if anything, is also something I'd love to see in one of the live action adaptations.
Oh, Jesus.
No, but like, just like a practical effect. Just some kind of like, what would you call it? The puppet thing?
Yeah, like a animatronic.
That's the word, yeah. Just something, someone like behind the camera with like a trigger, just triggering the screams every so often. Just a very simple, Skrunk! Skrunk! Like I said, I love Angela because of that. Like, we don't see enough of her to really be like I have trouble seeing like a solo series of her. Like, even if it's like still like within this setting, I can't see myself just following her.
Right.
As a supporting character, I don't know, I just find it so fascinating. But yeah, I mean, I guess that's about. Oh, yes, got the last page, and I saw it ended with Skrunk there too. Issue 14. Toyo Harada is zooming toward Livewire and Hardcore, but she manages to hack their ship in order to temporarily dispose of Harada. Though it bricks the rocket and they fall back to Earth. With Harada out of the way, the team decide to attack the Foundation while they're weak, intercepting a fleet of ships carrying supplies. However, once they are there, they realize that they are swarming with holograms, but Livewire manages to filter them out, highlighting a flesh and blood gravedog, aiming at them with a sniper rifle. Alright. And we get, just continued story, really.
Well, which is kind of what the second volume of a second issue of a volume should do.
Yeah, I know. It's just kind of like I said, I kind of miss a bit of these, one issue and it's done stories. Because it's kind of like short stories or short films. I like it when you just have a nice, complete story. But it's neither here nor there.
It is nice to see a little bit of weakness in Harada this time. I mean, again, it's just nice to know that you have, in order to knock him out and make him show any kind of weakness, you have to literally blast a spaceship into him in space and then have him fall and hit a mountain for him to cough up blood. I mean, obviously, this goes back into the whole problem that I have with him as a character. But also, even then, it's just hilarious to see, like, he falls, he monologues, and then he just hits the side of a mountain, throws up blood, and then just switches back into his, young self and seems to be fine. And it's just like, great. I mean, I love how they're even talking about, like, well, we don't know if we killed Harada, and it's like, no, you didn't. Like, don't even play with that. I mean, we know he didn't die. You know he didn't die. Come on. It's just getting ridiculous at this point. I mean, I don't know. It's just, I mean, it's kind of like with Thanos as well. See, if we want to talk about like something relevant, I mean, this is not a spoiler in that sense, but because most people know that he is this overpowered, super strong dude that's just going to come and wreck stuff. The only way you can defeat him is through tricks. And I always feel like, I mean, this is also something that happens in the comic, but the idea that the way to defeat Thanos is to remove the gauntlet, like to get the glove off of him. Because then he's just a big beefy guy and the Hulk can destroy him. But I always but that's just so, I don't know, it just feels like, okay, all we're doing in the entire movie or comic is just trying to avoid him as much as possible and just trying to get that gauntlet off. And it feels kind of, I don't know, it just feels what's the word for it? It's just not unnecessary, but fruitless. Because all you're doing is escaping. You're evading this force, and it's the same thing with Harada. No one is defeating him. It's like every single conflict that you have with Harada is just them trying to do something and then running away. And then Harada's just going to maybe be knocked out for like a little bit, slam into a mountain, and he's back to full power. And it's just boring because you know nothing is going. And the great thing about Harada is he doesn't have that gauntlet. He doesn't have that thing where we're like, well, as long as we get this away from him, then he's going to be weak and we can kill him. You know, and it's just, that's why I just feel like this is frustrating and also frustrating to read because you're just like, oh, they're fighting an enemy that is completely unbeatable. And this exact comic at the beginning of this comic here just shows that. They launch an entire rocket at him. He falls through space, lands into a mountain, and he just gets up.
Yeah, no.
You know, and so from my point, it's just like, okay, you guys are just going to keep running away, and the situation is going to solve itself somehow, and it's not going to be satisfying because it's just going to be one of those like technicalities that's going to defeat Harada if he ever needs to be defeated, or he's going to be like, oh, I just reconsidered my stance, and now I don't want to kill half the world or anything like that. And that's kind of why I'm so uninterested in this comic, because it's just like I don't care where it's going. I know it's going to be disappointing, and I don't care.
Oh, I definitely see what you mean with that, but for me it depends. Like I got the impression from the way you were describing this and Thanos that you kind of prefer more of the sense of like this sort of shonen battle anime thing, where it's not so much about the trick or strategy to defeat the bad guy, but more of the training yourself up to defeat them on like equal terms.
Yeah, kind of, but I like the idea of overcoming something and struggling and becoming stronger. Either if that's like, yeah, I don't mind going up against something and then coming away smarter and wiser and then launching another attack kind of thing. I mean, it doesn't matter about being smart, but I feel like when you give someone like Thanos just that gauntlet, and it's just like, as long as we do that, then it's fine. But I wish there could be other options. You know, like I wish there could just be like, no, if we all come together and do something together, we can actually defeat Thanos. I mean, there's a scene. I don't know if I'm not going to go too much into the spoiler part of this, but there's a scene in the movie where I was like, this is amazing. This is great. This is what I like to see. And it was close, but someone ruined it.
Oh, okay, now I know.
Okay, you know exactly what it is. But there's that scene where it's just like, this is how I would want to have Thanos defeated, because it was working well. Everyone was like using their strengths. Everyone was doing their job. Everything it felt good. But with Harada, you can't do that because no matter what happens, he's always a step ahead, and he's just so powerful that you can't do anything with him.
Yeah, no, I definitely see your point, but again, we just differ in our opinion on Harada as well.
Yeah, and we're just circle jerking here. I mean, is it circle jerking? I mean, you have a different opinion.
Yeah, no, isn't that the opposite? That's when we both have the same. You know, because we're just like pleasuring ourselves to the same thought.
All right, time to break that metaphor. One thing I do like is that hardcore keeps jumping back and forth, being like on the good guy's side and on the bad guy's side. I guess they just do whatever is good for them.
Well, that's the thing. Hardcore follow orders.
Right.
And the thing with Project Rising Spirit is, you know, sometimes they'll be trying to, capture Bloodshot again, or, capturing Psyot children. And sometimes, as well, we gotta fight Harada.
Right.
And I kind of like that. It's
sometimes we just have to do a suicide mission.
Yeah, but that's the thing. It's kind of like that sometimes. It's just, I mean, not to get all what would the word be? Moral relativism or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, but who's good, who's bad, who's right and wrong? All depends on the side you're on and your values and all that.
Yeah, but that's kind of a Valiant staple, isn't it?
Oh, certainly. I mean, I think that's one of the things they wanted to make very clear with the Harbinger series in general, ever since the start with Harada and Peter. Where you kind of have the two sides, and then
Yeah,
neither of them being particularly fully good or fully evil in that sense.
right. No one's fully good, no one's fully evil, both equal assholes.
Mm. Sometimes you need an asshole. Without assholes, we would not be in a lot of shit, but no, I don't know. It's kind of a cool issue, anyways. I feel like I like this kind of stuff where, I mean, this is almost an anime tier setup near the end. Like, this is almost like a Naruto thing with a bunch of, shadow clones.
Right.
And it's almost like that kind of level of, and like this sort of manga battle stuff in terms of really analyzing the scenario. Like, I could see this in Hunter x Hunter or something going on about, wait a minute, which one is the real one? Or, no, but how do we do this? Oh, we're wasting time talking about this. And then, we know what happens in the next issue, but, I like the idea. They're like, there we go. There's Grave Dog. And now they get the jump on him.
Well, can you really get a jump on someone if he's already aiming a gun at you?
No, but he wasn't aware of it, it seemed.
What?
Yeah, he's waiting for us to get in sniper range.
Yeah, so he sees them, but he can't shoot them yet. That's why he's aiming at them to get ready for them to be in range, and he can shoot them. I mean, why would he be staring up at the sky with his eye through the viewer of the sniper, or through the scope of the sniper, and not know that they're coming? They can't get the jump on him.
I don't know. That's usually how I play Widowmaker in Overwatch.
What, you constantly have the sniper up?
Yep, because it takes a while for it to load up its charge. Not long, but still, it's I'd rather have it on all the time and peeking at the area where they usually will come out of, so I can get.
Well, yeah, okay. Well, if you know where they're coming, then yeah. But that's the same thing he's doing here. He sees them already. He knows where they're coming, so he puts up the sniper and okay, whatever. We don't need to go through the details, but I just know that I'm going to be able to beat you very well when you play Widowmaker.
Oh.
If I ever get a new PC.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Yeah.
Ah, man, I wish it was a free-to-play game that we could play it on PS4 together.
Yeah.
Because it's definitely not worth for me to buy it on PS4 as well.
Right. This episode is sponsored in part by Hardcore. Always wanted to be strong like Armstrong, fly like Faith, fight like Archer, and shoot fire out of your hands like Flamingo. Come to Hardcore. Strengthen us with your voluntary contribution and become the superhero you've always wanted to be. Side effects may include never seeing your family again, being blackmailed into staying, and very probably painful death if you're not lucky enough to die in battle and have a chip planted inside your brain. Hardcore. Fight for a better tomorrow.
Are you a child out late at night with a strange Japanese businessman in need of some nutrition? Come on down to Yo's Donut Shop. Try our purple frosted kind. It's delicious.
Issue 15. Hardcore and Harada's group fight on the container. Palmer and Gravedog fight, while the rest of the Corps fights the blind bald woman and the vine monster. As you can see, I'm very good with names. Livewire spends this time trying to find more info on the data she stole from in the first issue of this volume. While in the engine room, she meets Mech Major and can't really fight him in this Syot-dampened ship. Palmer defeats Gravedog, it seems, and it looks like the blast Palmer struck Gravedog with makes him hurtle towards the ship, which explodes on impact, creating a hull breach. I think that's right. I'm not even sure. I didn't really understand what was happening there. As the water rushes in, Mech Major transmits to Livewire. She sees his beautiful code. On top of the ship, everyone's still fighting, but stop when they see Harada closing in. He rushes into the engine room to confront Livewire, but Mech Major's there to stop him, claiming that Livewire is controlling him.
Yeah.
Your reactions are always so heartfelt and...
Well, again, it's kind of hard to keep my own enthusiasm, considering it's not my my greatest favorite.
Oh, it isn't?
Well, not this volume in particular.
Okay.
Because it's ending. No, I feel like the first two is my favorite part.
Well, I mean, this one was the one that I was more kind of I liked a little bit more because it was a lot more action, so I could kind of get through the pages quicker, which doesn't speak well to the comic. Otherwise, I mean, it's just fine. I mean, I kind of like the idea that Gravedog has his own type of lifeline.
Yeah, like a sort of like pirate version.
Yeah, but it's kind of nice to see how that was kind of working. I still don't understand what what was going on, like how the explosion happened that created the breach hull. Because it looks like when Palmer blasted, like when he had that spin touch detonation thing, that he hit Gravedog and then he like torpedoed underwater into the ship, and that blew something up. Is that correct?
Well, let me double check too. I didn't really think of it.
Well, because you kind of see there's one underwater shot where you kind of see like a body or something flying towards the engine or the turbine in the back.
Yeah, I see that. I'm trying to think as well who that is.
Well, if you look to the page before, I mean, he's literally like blasting Gravedog in the water and he just goes underwater. So I'm assuming he's being blasted, like literally torpedo shot out of, like, yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess it's one of those things where if you do things quick enough, the laws of physics won't catch up to your bullshit. In terms of, yes, like, yeah.
Yeah.
Because it is kind of weird. It's almost like he gave the commands to Gravedog himself. Like, almost like he hacked Gravedog. Or, no, okay, the shield is there all the time. Though we don't quite see it in the underwater shot, which I think might ruin it.
He gets shields.
Yeah.
So
control. So shields.
Yeah. He gets the shield right then. So then he blows towards the. Yeah. Okay. So it is him that hits.
But I feel it's a bit of a miss by the artist in that panel of the underwater scene.
Yeah.
Because the shield should still be there, I think.
Right.
And whether an impact like that should make the shield bigger or not, I didn't think too much of it.
I mean, it's just one of those things. Like an explosion happened. Let's just continue.
That's kind of how I was thinking too. I mean, we have a whole gang with people with like guns and grenades and psionic powers.
Yeah.
It just kind of felt like it didn't feel out of place. You know what I mean?
But one thing that did feel really out of place was, I think is it Palmer? Yeah, Major Palmer. When he points his finger guns at Harada and just goes, "Pow, you son of a bitch," which also, interestingly, they did not bleep bitch.
Well, bitch is okay to say.
No, but before they did. I'm pretty sure. Either way, wouldn't that be hilarious if that's how he dies? Like, do you think it would be like, lifeline, give me finger guns? Pew, pew.
Finger bang, bang you every night. Girl, you love to finger bang, that's all right.
Yeah, that would just been hilarious. I mean, again, like, what is... That just feels so weird. I mean... like, what was he trying to do? Like, I don't know. It's just...
I think it was just this kind of defiance,
Yeah, but also at this point, he might as well, because anything he tries would have the same effect.
That's what I mean. It's like this last kind of defiance, as well as, I guess, a reference to Jaws.
Is it?
Well, not entirely, but the line is, the line there is a "Smile, you son of a bitch." So it's kind of like they're, and they're near water.
Wow. Okay. I mean, I don't know. I don't think you're stretching it a little bit.
So yeah, I don't know. It's like, I read a similar comic where they were close to a sink. And I was kind of like, no. But that's the only thing I can think of. Yes, the whole, especially also like the character type in terms of like the more grizzled, like gun guy.
Yeah, but honestly, if they were going to reference Jaws, they might as well have just said, "Smile, you son of a bitch," instead of "pow." I mean, it's not like they're getting into some sort of copyright problems.
Who knows?
No, you can't copyright a line of dialogue.
Oh, can you? Or
No, no, you can't.
well, how does it work then? If you like, cause I can't just have. Sorry for getting into like semantics here,
Yeah.
but I couldn't possibly make like a weird, or could I make like it's just some weird non sequitur comic that was just composed of the exact dialogue from like Star Wars: A New Hope?
Well, yeah, because what you're stealing there is basically because it's not you're not stealing you can't copyright phrases like singular sentences, but you can copyright a sequence of phrases in that order. It's the same way like you can't copyright a note, like a musical note, but you can copyright a sequence of musical notes in a certain rhythm, which is a song.
Hmm. I don't know. Some. I mean, I agree with most of that, but it can get
I
kind
mean,
of
it's like one of those
weird.
things. I think like slogans and stuff like that. I'm not even sure if they're allowed to be copyrighted necessarily.
Well,
I
isn't that
mean,
where you get difference between trademarks and copyrights
right.
and
But that's what I mean. Like,
registered?
right. But I mean, like something like "Hasta la vista, baby" is not copyrighted,
Yeah, that's classic.
right? So I mean, that's why everyone can do that
But
or
then there
make
are some
parodies of
moments,
it.
even though it was, of course, sort of a big deal when it happened. Because I remember when I lived in the States, it happened. Paris Hilton's "That's Hot."
Yeah. Well, she tried to copyright it, but it didn't work.
It didn't work.
I don't think so.
Wasn't the again? It could be that you're right. Just it's always the headlines and the reports on things.
Yeah.
It's always to get the most. No one wants to report. And the
I mean, could you
thing,
could you imagine? I mean, like think about McDonald's even. I mean, you can't copyright "I'm loving it."
mm,
I mean, could you think about like you're having sex with someone and it's like, oh, I'm loving it. It's like, oh shit, now I have to pay McDonald's again.
I'd only be worried if it was a Disney thing.
Yeah, because Disney's the one that would.
No, but Disney has
Oh
done
god.
that.
Yeah, it was but the most what was it the what's the phrase for
Oh,
Disneyland or Disney
happiest
World
place on earth.
the happiest place on earth, right? They copyrighted that, right?
So something like that, but it's more about their icons and stuff. Like they've been. I don't think it's so bad now, but I believe in the '90s they were very petty to the
Are you
point.
just shit talking Disney now because they screwed you?
But no. But this is something I knew a long time ago. So they've been very petty at one point about the use of their imagery.
Hmm.
And again, like what would you say? Like on a matter of principle, I agree with them. You shouldn't have these what's called the carnivals with these really badly airbrushed characters.
Right.
I know them fully well. I've seen them both in Chile, La Palma, and even in Sweden. It's always the same thing. You get like these like fairs and stuff, and it's like, oh god, all right, let's hear. Here's Ninja Turtles, owned by Viacom. Oh, and here's Superman next to them, owned by Time Warner. And you're just kind of like, okay, yeah, they just were spray painted on there because they're cool. People know what they are, but they
Right. I
obviously
mean, or like kindergartens also, they sometimes draw these
that's
murals of all the.
yeah, that's where I kind
Yeah.
of that's how petty they got to a point apparently.
Yeah, I know. But also, I kind of understand it because you don't want. Yeah, well.
Yeah, no, I mean, I agree. Like I said, on principle, it's one of those things where you're like, really, you're gonna send a lawyer after this really tiny kindergarten.
Right.
It's like I don't know, just stuff like that gets me more like. And I mean, that's real life, I guess, in a sense, where you agree with something on a principle, but then in practice, you're kind of like, really, should we really go through with this? Like, this really matter?
Right. So can we talk about the gun that Angela has?
Yes, please. I love that.
I mean, it kind of looks like. Well, I'm going to say it looks like testicles.
Knowing her, it might very well be.
Yeah, actually, you're right. I mean, they do expand quite a lot. Um, I mean, yeah, but it looks kind of like some sort of weird Monster Hunter weapon, or like a Terraria thing. Like it was some sort of.
So Anila's a bowgun user.
Right, right. But it looks like some sort of tree monster that she killed enough times to get all the parts, and then she could make her gun.
Oh, maybe you can have different ones because there's all those sacks you can get.
Oh yeah. Ooh.
Always wonder what part of the body that was.
Oh, dude.
I don't know. It kind of reminds me of the Chimera Ant arc of Hunter x Hunter. So there was an enemy
Mm.
there with a similar kind of gun, but it was part of him, and he could basically.
Wait. Don't. I mean, this is. I mean, I know we swear a lot, but this is still a child-friendly show. I mean, if this gun was attached to him.
Yeah, no, to his arm.
Oh, okay. All right. I thought you were talking about something else.
Yeah, no, it's kind of like he was kind of like an imbued sniper thing, and what he shot was ticks.
Well, the mile inconvenience man.
No, they were kind of like I remember it because he was shooting Killua in the forest, and when he got.
How do you know he didn't just miss all the time and he just got ticks by running through the forest? And he just like turns around and is like, oh no, I got all these ticks. It must have been his weapon.
No, but they do like hit with the impact of a bullet.
Yeah, but yeah, okay.
I'm sorry for killing your joke. I know what you're referring to. No, but the thing was, it was kind of a cool concept of this sort of organic weapon.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I think there's also something in Halo that's the kind of a famous one that the enemies use. But I think that's more of like these quills or something.
Yeah, I've never played Halo.
But I don't know. Again, it's just stuff like this. This is what I like with like characters in universe like this. I mean, Angela has a very clear sort of like I'll have
aesthetic.
To say a clear character, even if it might not be the most like exciting, so to speak.
Yeah.
But it's very clear, like, okay, it's a scientist, from another dimension with different ethics from us, so she doesn't see human life the same way we do. And thus, her weapons are all just these experiments she's done on humans and such. And I feel here, too, it just shows it there. It's like, yeah, that makes sense. Fits her. So, and it shoots little. I didn't quite get it at first. I thought it was actually the Vine Lord shooting those eggs.
Mm-hmm.
So, but then yeah, because we don't actually see, I think, like an egg actually ejecting from her, like from her gun.
Right. No, we don't.
So it's not quite the. I mean, not that it really matters in that sense, but yeah, it wasn't quite as clear as it could have been. But still, kind of fun. And honestly, this is something I've talked about early on, ever since we first read the first like Bloodshot and Hardcore. So I mean, gameplay wise, this could have been so much fun as a co-op kind of thing. You, me, and like two friends or some online guys. You're going on this mission here in this container field, like container ship. Like, okay, guys, careful now. There's gonna be holograms, so use true sight in order to see the real ones. It's kind of like a Left 4 Dead kind of thing, maybe. And then every so often the Lord Vine will come out and we have to try to protect ourselves and be careful from the snipers. And again, Hardcore is a game waiting to happen. It's such a good concept.
Yeah, it definitely is, yeah.
But yeah, I don't know, it's cool. And we were mentioning a little bit with Gravedog before, like it's cool he has his own control and all that. But I think what really makes that work, though, I feel like he's such a great character also for this kind of universe. Because I like it when I want to have some more new stuff as well. Like, it's kind of like the problem with a lot of DC and Marvel these days. Everything has to be kind of... It doesn't have to be that it's like a spin-off from another character.
Mm-hmm.
But it just makes so much sense to have things connected. You know what I mean? Like, instead of just having a new hero coming out of nowhere with new powers, it's like, well, they're a mutant. So they immediately have an X-Men connection.
Right.
Or like, oh, actually, this, they got their powers from Oscorp, so he has a Spider-Man connection. Oscorp, that's right, Oscorp. So it's kind of like but here I think it's one of those natural extensions, I think you could say. Like a natural extension of the premise. Like we have a team that have like, these cool lifeline concept, like, oh yeah, you can, have them hack in powers. And the idea then like someone could get away from there and then pirate it, basically. It's just a cool concept. It's a great extension of the I say concept a lot.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm just trying to say he's cool. Like,
Yeah, he is. I mean, he kind of has this Winter Soldier feel to him.
oh yeah, a little bit. Yeah, very grizzled, battle hardened.
Yeah, and he kind of doing things his own way, and it is interesting. I mean, I do like him as a character, but
I honestly, I mean, depending on what happens with the future Harbinger stuff, I don't think I've
mm,
seen him in a while.
mhm.
But like a little mini of him wouldn't be too bad, I think.
I was just recently on the on the Valiant fan page on Facebook, and there was a poll about what kind of comics you'd like to see in the future, like what kind of stories or what kind of ongoing series would you like to have renewed or something like that. And the top two picks are, of course, the number one, Eternal Warrior, which of course is the correct answer. And then the second one, sadly, is Harbinger, which yeah.
Well, that's
And the third one is Rise. So I mean, two out of three is pretty good.
well, I think the thing with Harbinger is that it's I guess it's kind of core to the universe in a sense.
Yeah, I guess it is.
I mean, Harada is a very important player to the Valiant universe, whether you like him or not.
Yeah.
And I think the whole concept of Psyos is important because they have the same purpose as mutants do in terms of narrative.
Yeah, well, that's what I mean. It is very much like the mutants in Marvel. I mean, they are just constantly present. I mean, it's kind of like a default that.
Well, again, it's just so nice. It's just a quick way to explain why someone has powers.
Right, exactly. I mean, you don't even have to. I mean, if you want to go do something special like with Spider-Man or whatever, but otherwise you're like, oh, this person can shoot fire out of their hands. They're a mutant. Done. They have that whatever it's called.
The X gene.
The X gene. That's the one. Yeah. They have the X gene, and that's it. No questions asked.
Exactly.
And same thing with here with the Psyots, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like there's this one, we'll get to it when we get to it, but I think it's either volume 2 or 3 of Faith. So she has a fight with just another, like, Psyot.
Mm-hmm.
And again, it's not like it's weird or lazy or something, but it's a quick thing. Like, I think he had wind powers. It's just kind of like a quick thing there, like, oh yeah, he's a Psyot. And I like that in the sense of it's something they've established. It's not like it's just a sudden thing. Oh wait, oh yeah. By the way, there's a lot of people with powers in the world.
Does DC have that kind of thing?
They kind of try to do it. I think it still is there. They have the meta gene,
right? Yeah,
but they don't. It's not like the whole randomness of it. It's more.
Didn't they bring that up? Didn't they bring that up in the video game? The
DC Universe Online?
No. Yeah. It was that. Yeah, DC Universe Online. Because they were like, basically, yeah, everyone has. That was like Lex Luthor's plan in that game.
Oh, yeah, no, but they took that from 52, which was a really cool concept.
Okay.
I love that comic so much. That if anything, is something you should read.
No, the only thing that I'm going to be reading is Power Rangers.
No, but the whole thing there, like Luthor's whole plot throughout that whole year was this thing called the Everyman Project, which was a way to manually trigger the metagene in people.
Right.
Because the metagene was kind of there to explain how certain heroes got their powers. So the only one I can think of that fits it is Flash. Like he has the metagene in his body.
Yeah, and then it gets activated.
Exactly, there's a trigger. Like not necessarily that it has to be a lightning bolt in the chemicals, but some kind of like adrenaline rush that triggers the body, and in a sense of like trying to save yourself. So by triggering that metagene, he managed to save his life, and that it just happened to be like the super speed.
Right.
That was a really cool thing because Luthor did that whole Everyman project so he could get powers. But he's one of the few who what's the word? Not immune, but not eligible. Like he doesn't have a what's called a metagene. Only for it to be revealed that he had one all along, but the scientist behind the whole thing knew what he was up to, and was constantly fudging his reports. and then he gets superpowers, and then things go to hell.
Huh. Okay.
But yeah, it was just a cool concept. It's again, that's what I kind of do like with these superhero universes when, well, yeah, when you there's a concept set out, and then you kind of like go the logical extension of it. Because I love that one page on, I think it's on during New Year's, during the 52, and it's just this whole thing of like just a whole double page spread of heroes who you're never gonna see again because they're all gonna die. And
That sounds familiar.
yeah, but it's all like the everyman. Like it's just all these different heroes which are supposed to be sort of funny because they're like, yes, as the name suggests, they're like everyday people.
Yeah.
But they had some cool names though. I like the Jack of all trades, which I kind of like. Okay, what does that mean? That's like he's pretty good at everything, which honestly is not a bad power. I mean, if you're like maybe you're not the best at everything, but if you're pretty good at everything, you're pretty useful then.
You're a good team player.
No, think about it. It's like sure you might not be able to, you know, what's called, you might not be able to do this the brain surgery, but maybe you can do a heart surgery. I don't know which one's harder. But you know what I mean? It's not like you're totally useless.
Yeah, but that's if you assume that the skill is surgery. But what if the skill is heart surgery and the skill is brain surgery? Because then you couldn't do either of them.
See, and this is where it gets into the comic book discussion, or
Right.
superhero discussion.
Exactly.
Which I gotta say, I know a lot of people don't like Big Bang Theory and stuff, but that episode when the girls go to the comic book store and get the 4 comics,
Yes.
I gotta say that is great because that is exactly the kind of discussions you get.
Exactly.
But what if you're in space? There's no gravity. Can you then hold it? Can you then wield it? It's like yes, yes. Because again, the writers who came up with these things just put on these limits because they needed something to kind of,
Right.
well, they needed some drama. Like before, oh wait, if he doesn't hold on to his hammer, he reverts back to his lame doctor self. And by lame, I actually mean with his like not
Yes.
peg leg, but his disability.
His Dr. House.
Yes.
Like,
oh god, they had Dr. House before.
oh my god, Dr. House confirmed for Thor.
Oh my god, but now I want to see a really. I mean, we're getting better shows now, so it's not like before. But if this was during like the Arrow days, like the season 1 of Arrow,
Yeah.
I would not surprise me if Marvel tried to do that, do like a medical drama, but with like Donald Blake as Thor,
Right.
and then just having like, oh yeah, and sometimes he turns into a god of thunder,
Right.
or even better, he never does it, but he goes, no, I promise myself never to do it again. It's like
It's just like one of the run-of-the-mills medical shows like Grey's Anatomy, but it actually is just all Marvel characters.
yeah, like well, they're doing the Arrow season 1 thing where no one has powers, they have a condition.
Right.
No, oh yeah, that character with those cool powers? Yeah? Well, here he doesn't have those powers.
Right.
Oh, well, is he still like the same guy? Not really. There's no real reason to call him that same name.
Okay, well, obviously we have not much more to say about this comic, so why don't you just
On to the next one.
Yeah, do the next one, and then we can kind of wrap it up.
Issue 16. Harada flies toward the ship where Livewire and Mech Major are, though he is attacked by said robot controlled by Livewire. While inside his mind, Livewire manages to hack something that Harada has hidden away furthest, thinking it was important information for taking him down, but rather it's a VR home movie of her youth with Harada. During all of this, the Harbinger Foundation is defending at different points of interest from outside enemies, all to protect the space elevator. Harada finally has enough and explains to Livewire that she's exhausted the last of his goodwill and he leaves her to drown. Mech Major saves her, though reveals that to the world it looks like she destroyed a shipment of food to the people of the Foundation. Gravedog is saved, and everything seems to be going fine for Harada. It seems he is doomed to fail in the long term.
Is it though?
Well, I mean, again, it's like the last captions here kind of try to illustrate the sort of not Pyrrhic victory, but the idea that he will lose the war. Like just because he's winning all these battles, he just can't he can't sustain this. I mean, especially the stuff they were mentioning about how they actually don't have enough food for the people living there. which is like a major, like blow to him in that sense. I mean, it's supposed to be a post-scarcity society he's setting up. But I don't know. I like that. I like their little what's called like superhero debate. So the way he like talks, the way he says like, "So help me, you feed the people while I build. Don't work against me."
Right.
It's
Come to the dark side of the Force, Luke.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's one of those things. It's obviously the fact that when met with opposition, he will go to such lengths as killing, which kind of illustrates why he is wrong. But it's one of those things where, ah, man, if only he could have like been better at selling this point to people. And no, but like like why not try to just pitch the space elevator himself, so to speak? While before he was
It's ironic that a guy who can literally go into the minds of other people does not know how to convince people of something.
Well, I mean, that's what he has been doing. It was the Harbinger leak thing. That
Yeah,
kind
no,
of.
but still, I mean, he must be pretty shit at it.
No, I think the idea is that he's trying to do it so it looks believable. Because he can, like, if he were to like convince, like let's say like Bill Gates or something, to just give up his Well, I mean, I guess he is retired, but you know what I mean. Oh yeah, by the way, Bill Gates, give me all your money. Like, sure, for Bill Gates, he doesn't realize it, but for everyone around, they'll make like news and people will be suspicious of Harbinger.
No. I don't mean that he should telepathically, like, force him to do his bidding. I'm talking more in the sense of everyone has a price in that sense. Like everyone has ways to be convinced of doing something. Even if that is something like, let's say, just easily enough. Like, say you and I are talking about something, and I think, just haggling, right? How about he can look into your mind. So if I want to buy something that you say is $25, but you would give it to me for 20, right? I can literally look into your mind and know that 20 is the one that you want to give me for. So I can then immediately come out with, all right, I'll pay you 20, and you can be like, all right, fine, that's fine. You know what I mean? So like there's no question about not knowing what the person would want in exchange for it. So, Harada could go to Bill Gates and see like, okay, well, what are the points that he has, or like what's important to him, right? How can I play this so that he could be convinced in a proper manner of giving me money to build a space elevator? Like, do I have to pitch it to him coming from a point of view of starving children, or environmentalism, or furthering technology, or how do I convince this man to give me money? And not in the sense of like, I'm just going to turn your brain on and be like, all right, you're going to give me money.
No, but I know what you
more
mean.
doing it
If,
like
if
that.
it's just mind reading, like Mel Gibson in What Women Want.
I've never watched that.
Okay, yeah, no, he can read women's minds.
I'm assuming.
So, but yeah, he can't control them. He uses it to his advantage. So, like, he's wonderful
Right.
in bed because he knows exactly what they want him to do.
That's actually a really good idea.
But then there's also the whole sadness of it. Well, not sadness, but the fact that because he can control it in the sense of like, oh, I want to read your mind now.
Right.
So he always kind of hears what they think of him and stuff, and it can be kind of like sad at times. But yeah, when you know the thing, as you said, like, okay, I know exactly like where to pull or like what to do, to
Right.
get this person to do what I want. But I think that's what he has been doing. Like he's just done like a big mix of things. So, and I think the idea was to do things sort of in a more slow, natural way that didn't raise suspicion.
Mm-hmm.
Especially like where all his resources and stuff, keeping psyops a secret. But yeah, no, it's. But again, that's where he becomes dangerous. The fact that he will stop at nothing, and that he sees no problem here, basically killing his once most trusted subordinate.
Yeah.
So, but I don't know. But it also illustrates just how much I like Livewire too. Just like such a great backstory. I feel like I can't really think of a good. I mean, there's gotta be some good examples. I mean, obviously, there's examples of what's called bad guys turn good and all that. So that's not like a mind blowing thing. I don't know. There's just something interesting about okay, kind of like a right hand woman to this guy. Also betrays him when she sees like he's wrong. He's kind of put into solitary confinement of sorts until she's needed. After that, she has another choice to make and decides to go against him once more, but this time retains her freedom. And I don't know, it works. She's like such a solid character and a great what would you call it? Well, just a great addition to the universe.
Yeah, I like her too. I mean, that's not the question. It's just the comic sucks.
Yeah.
The context around her.
I do kind of, well, not that I like seeing her get hurt, but I always kind of like that with sort of psychics and stuff. When mere like physical things is kind of like their weakness.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they're all kind of having like their little battle thing there, and then Harada just gets these like metal things to hit her in the head.
Right.
This is a clunk. It's kind of like, did you get to see that Batman and Harley Quinn movie?
No, I heard it was horrible.
Really, I loved it.
Okay.
I mean, again, if it's the butt thing, like, okay, yeah, I get that. But, you know,
The
I like
butt
butts. So.
thing. Can you not lie?
But, like, there's this great thing at the end where Poison Ivy is fighting... it wasn't Swamp Thing. It was some other character I'd never heard of before. Basically, like an ent from another dimension. But basically, it's sort of like a battle of the minds. Like, they're both using their plant powers against each other. And Poison Ivy is stronger than he is. Like, it's kind of like a really cool thing where you like, oh, like, who's gonna win? And yes, you know, she overpowered him. But he's a 7-foot mutant guy. So after, like, he's kind of like, haha, gotcha. He just punches her in the face. Again, it's not, again, like, I like it because she did win. It's just not like, you know, oh, haha, take that, Poison Ivy, you suck.
Right.
He's just kind of like, well, when all else fails. I mean, you know, he is like I said, he is like a 7-foot monster. So, but yeah. And then, of course, the whole ending, as I said in the summary, like to the media right now, it looks like Hardcore and Livewire took down the ship with food.
Yeah.
And that's very Marvel, I feel. Like, that's such a typical thing that could happen to Spider-Man and stuff. You know, he tries to save people, and in the process, it's like, oh, look, Spider-Man,
right.
Destroy that yacht or something.
Get me pictures of Spider-Man.
He's a menace. Oh God, I just someone shared an issue of one of the relatively more recent Spider-Man comics.
Yeah.
Oh, such a good read.
Yeah.
Yeah, My Dinner with Yona.
Oh God, that sounds good.
Yeah, Yona Jameson and has some information that Spider-Man needs for some like ongoing story, like so some like within like the issues, and he will give it to him in exchange for an hour interview at his place where he makes dinner.
Nice.
And I mean, at times it kind of feels a little bit too, what would the word be? A little bit too writery. I don't know how to describe it. Like, it doesn't feel all the time like it's the characters. Like, it doesn't feel so much that they're people. It's people talking. It feels like it's a writer trying to get characters to say the things he wants to say.
Mm.
But it's interesting things he does have to say, and it's just so nice the way they, you know, attack each other. Like, you know, so Spider-Man, why the mask? So like, it's to protect my family and stuff. Bullshit. So, you know, police don't wear masks, and they have the same risk you do.
Right.
And, you know, just debate back and forth, and due to like due to the whole what's called One More Day thing with his deal with the devil, he then at one point, after a huge emotional moment, pulls off his mask to reveal himself to Jonah. And that's such a good read.
Wow, nice spoiler there, dude.
Oh, sorry. But yeah, just one last thing I wanted to mention, because we've had this artist before, Kerry Evans.
Yeah.
I think this is honestly his best work he's done so far, but I really don't like his workflow with the use of what seems to be 3D models and photographs for like water and such.
Oh yeah, I guess he does.
I guess you weren't bothered by that.
No, not at all. But then again, I totally understand it. I mean, I wouldn't want to draw all these, what are they, F-15s or something, and all these like battleships and stuff like that. I would much rather just have photos of them too, because it's such intricate stuff, and yeah, I'd also just rather use photos.
Yeah, no, again, I'm not against it in of itself, but I wish he had some better ways of hiding it. Like, I just feel there's such a big difference between the character art and the
Mm.
backgrounds, where they just don't quite fit.
Yeah, they don't meld. It's like a bad composition of like green screen stuff.
Mm. Yeah, exactly. It's just kind of, and also I just don't know what he was thinking with his face on page
That's not gonna help
nine.
me.
On page 9 of issue 14, it's after he gets blasted out of space and like is about to crash into the mountain. There's this like big splash page of like all these characters he's met, like Grave Dog, Divinity.
Oh yeah,
I really don't like Divinity's face there.
yeah. It does look very thick.
I don't know, I think he just went a little too hard with the rendering, so everything just feels so like weird on him. Like, okay, so it has
Yeah.
like really chubby cheeks and a lot of
Right.
wrinkles, and
Yeah.
again, not like the worst thing ever, but it just kind of man, he just looks a little goofy. But otherwise, compared to how he did it, I mean, he was the first artist on Harbinger in Volume 1.
Mm-hmm.
And I gotta say, he's improved a lot. Again, not, he's a professional. I'm not gonna be here treating him like a student. But yes, personally, I feel this was his best work I've seen. So despite still not liking the whole, CG photograph combo. All right then. Do you have any last words? Now that your Imperium is finally over.
Thank God. I look forward to reading it in a long, long time, like almost half a year still. Hopefully.
Yeah.
All right. You can discuss this episode on Reddit, tweet us, or you can follow us on Facebook. Also, all of our episodes are available on our hosting site, Podbean. Links are in the show notes. Catch us next time for
A and A, The Adventures of Archer and Armstrong, Volume 1.